Start with, if you were elected mayor, what would your platform, what would your policies be with regard to both housing and code enforcement in the city?
Well, Jim, code enforcement has been failing the people of the city of Binghamton, and it's been failing for the last 8 years. Things have only gotten worse. If you look at this building here, when I first came on city council, as I was going door to door, neighbors were complaining about it. When I got elected, I called. Nothing was done for almost 6 months, and then last September, they came and cut the lawn. Since then, everything has only gotten worse. The lawn has not been cut this year, and it is a disgrace to the neighborhood. I mean, we're on Pennsylvania Avenue next to Weiss. This is not some hidden piece of property. This is wide open, and it's a complete disgrace to the city of Binghamton. Now, we were just given $46 million by the federal government. Part of that money could be spent on our neighborhoods. We could increase code enforcement. We have 4 years to spend the money. Let's hire some code enforcement additionals for 4 years until we catch up. We can do the same thing with the Parks Department. It won't cost our local taxpayers any money. We can just add to fixing up all the properties, using the Parks Department, giving them their lawnmowers. We could hire college kids to do these lawns. Why are we waiting for the Parks Department if we're at the bottom of the list? We can do more than 2 things at the same time, and I would do that.
That's great. Do you think it's merely a matter of not enough personnel in the code department, or do you think that there needs to be either stricter penalties or stricter enforcement approaches?
The code enforcement needs help. That's obvious. Our lawyers in our offices, we need to have them crack down on these out-of-town landlords. This landlord here, it's owned by a bank, but yet our corporation counsel doesn't go after the bank. The bank will end up paying a fine, and then we start from scratch. We have to be able to really crack down. We've got to change the code laws. We've got to make them stricter. And we really have to crack down on the out-of-town landlords that buy distressed properties, do nothing with them, except let them become more distressed, and then they sell them to some other bad player, within our city, outside of our city.
How about in terms of the city's approach to affordable housing? First, do you think there's enough safe, affordable housing in our area? And if not, what can be done about it?
Well, we definitely need more affordable housing. We have this problem, this dichotomy, in that we rely on the university, and the university students take up a lot of the West Side is all student housing. So it's a shortage of getting into a good neighborhood. Somebody wants to get into a good neighborhood, there's a shortage of the houses. So I think that we have been doing the right thing and giving money to Jerry Willard over at the First Ward Action Council, and that we just partner with people that want to build affordable housing. I don't think that the city wants to get into the business of building it itself, but partnering is the correct way. We have to find more partners.
Do you think enough of the $46 million is being dedicated to affordable housing?
I think that right now we spent $6 million, $3 million this year, $3 million next year on affordable housing. But I think that we should have saved some of that first 23. It's being paid in $23 million, then 23. We should have saved some of those millions instead of promising the whole 23 out, to see how this new COVID strain is going to affect people in their housing, and how is it going to affect the landlords. The federal government, through the 211, you can call and they can get help. But what happens when that money is all gone, and then we have our really good landlords are not being paid? And so I want to make sure that our small businesses and our landlords are taken care of. And by doing this, we are protecting all the renters, that they're not being foreclosed on unnecessarily.
It's interesting because our city once had a population as large as, say, 80,000, and once had enough housing stock, theoretically at least, to house 80,000 people. Yet, and obviously the population has dropped considerably. It's less than 50,000 now, but it's not as if all that housing stock is still
Right.
livable.
Right.
I mean, what do you do with this sort of glut of run-down, dilapidated houses that are really kind of sprinkled around almost every neighborhood?
They are. Well, you know, student housing is the cause of this housing shortage. But student housing is also the cause of our economy doing well. So it is a real dichotomy, and so we have to find that balance. And, you know, we need to find partners that will build with us. I mean, if you look at 50 Front Street, and that is for the people in the higher income bracket, but that would not have been built had we not gotten them a $5 million grant to tear it down and to clear it. It would not have been built if we didn't give them their pilot that they got. And that is a gem over there. That is a gem. It's changed the whole neighborhood. So, you know, we need to work with, within our, that 46 million isn't, excuse me. So I start that over. That 46 million is not going to last forever. It is only 46 million, and there's only 23 of it left. So we need to find some partners that will build for us if we give them a nice grant for that money. But also with that money, I would like to grant. There's many people around the entire city that have been able to save enough money to paint their house or to put a roof on their house. And we should use that money, because we can use it for neighborhoods. We should use it to grant. If you make $100,000 or less and you've been unable to save that money, we will grant you $15,000 to paint your house. We will grant you money to put a roof on your head. And not only are we creating jobs, but we are beautifying the neighborhoods all around the entire city.
I had a chance to share Mr. Cram's release with you.
Yes.
Were there any points that he made on there that you would like to respond to?
Well, my response is that, you know, I've been going door to door, and it's almost like somebody's been calling him and telling him what I've been talking about. And I find it amazing that after 7.5 years of code getting worse, of living conditions for people actually having to live in these places getting worse, that he's finally come up with a plan. I mean, where was he? Where has he been? Now we're getting election year promises, and it's too late, quite frankly. We need new leadership. We need to get in there. We need to get the fire lit under these under code enforcement. We need to get the fire lit. We need to find new leadership. They don't work with the county. We need to work with the county. We need to work with the state. We need to work with the federal government. And I think a Democratic mayor is going to be easier to get those folks to work with us.
All right, Joe, is there anything else on this subject that you'd like to share with me that I didn't think to ask?
Well, I would love it if we could do something about this building, you know, but I can't by myself. So I need to get in the mayor's office. In the first year that I'm in there, we're going to do something about this. We're going to do something about these buildings are spread all over the city. You know, so now Mr. Cram has a plan because he's running for mayor. Well, he's been the assistant to the mayor for 8 years, and it's a little late.
Bernie, anything else?